Hello everyone, welcome back to Royal News Network. My name is Brittany and today we are talking about the very whiny, very petulant, very annoying and aggravating Prince Harry and his continued court case against his grandmother's government, basically his grandmother, regarding his security arrangements and his decision to file another judicial review, dragging the taxpayers and their dollars through the court system so he can pout that he no longer has met security, even though he made the adult decision, him and his wife, to leave the British monarchy. He still thinks that he deserves security, and essentially he says he'll pay for it, but will he really? And what's really going on with this court case? I find this super fascinating and interesting, and I think it very much tells you how deeply Harry and Meghan just basically screwed up. So guys, if you haven't been to Royal News Network before, hello, my name is Brittany and I talk about everything related to royals because I love royalty. I find it super fun to watch. Yes, I am a nerd about it. I love it. So I talk about news, gossip, fashion, jewelry, television shows, movies, and history. I will do it all right here. So if you want to subscribe, that would be great. I also have a giveaway going on right now, so I will post the video link in the description box below and all the details will be on that video and you can win the swatch featuring Her Majesty the Queen. But like I said, today we are going to be talking about Harry's ongoing court case against the Home Office about his security. So kind of the backstory is when Harry and Meghan left, when they announced Megxit, they had this website. On this website, they said that they would still get security. They would still get Met security because they were internationally protected persons. This is a status given to certain people, and it requires basically any foreign government to augment their security detail anytime they're in their country. And Harry and Meghan said, we are still internationally protected people. I actually went in the Wayback Machine. I actually can post you the information that they put on their own website, Sussex Royal, about this during Megxit. And during the Megxit negotiation processes, Her Majesty's government, the Queen, and I guess basically her private secretary said, no, no, that's not going to be what happens. In certain situations, like for example, the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, Harry and Meghan would be offered Met security detail as the other royal family members are, because they are high profile targets. These are big events. They're making international news, yada, yada, yada. However, if Harry comes for, his personal, reasons, like he came for his mother's, the unveiling of his mother's statue last year, he doesn't get security because that is considered a private event. Well, Harry strongly disagrees with that. And you know what? Harry and Meghan, they can't arbitrate things normally like normal people. They gotta sue. They are sue happy. And so they've decided, I don't know where the Southern came from, by the way. They've decided that what they really want to do, that they're going to sue the government over this. Basically, his grandmother's government. We are going to sue because we need security. We cannot function if we are not surrounded by this massive wall of Met security every day and night. I mean, specifically, their specific argument is that the Met security officers have guns. But obviously, there's not many guns in the UK, like compared to the US. So I don't quite see the huge need for guns because most of the police officers in the UK don't even carry guns. In the United States, it's far different. But looking at this whole court case, every time you hear more about it, it's just like, how unlikable do you want to be, Harry? How unlikable do you want to be? Because every time I hear about this case, you just sound arrogant, narcissistic, bratty, whiny, pouty, just kind of bratty. It's just kind of crazy. So actually I've done a whole video kind of discussing more details about kind of some of the initial things we found out about the security demand and complaint. And one of the things I loved is that he actually talked about reading through all the Daily Mail comments. Even though him and Meghan do not pay attention to what happens in the media, he actually put the number down of the number of comments in a Daily Mail article. Now, part of this is, in addition to suing Her Majesty's government. So Harry wants to know how this decision was made, why this decision was made, and he wants it restored because he says he will pay for this himself. That is his supposed objective. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But he says he will. That's what he wants to do. However, again, it's a bit of a question. And Harry also is suing the Daily Mail, because what the Daily Mail did is, in addition to him suing the Home Office, he wanted to keep that completely private and quiet. He didn't want, this is my personal opinion, this is my personal thought process, is he and Meghan didn't really want people to know that they were suing over this. They wanted to keep this under wraps. Now granted, there are some security protocols and things that would come up in these hearings. So some parts of these hearings are closed, and I understand that. They do have to protect the integrity of the rest of the monarchy and their security. And they need to do that. So I understand why some of those things are private. But Harry was quite upset that the Daily Mail posted about this story and basically alleged that he was trying to keep this quiet. And it seemed like he kind of was. I mean, you can definitely make that inference. He was very upset that this was made public and is suing the Daily Mail over that. Now there are 3 legal proceedings going on regarding this security issue. And it's just kind of ridiculous. And the Met basically has said, and they said recently in the court case as well, it's like, our issue is that if we allow you to pay us to offer security, if you are given that right, which is something that nobody else has, the British royals are given security, but only the highest level British royals. So Princess Anne, Edward, Sophie, the York sisters, they do not have 24-hour security. They have security at certain events, and they can, sometimes they do often have Met protection officers at various engagements because they could become, somewhat of an issue of a target. But they don't have it like Catherine and William do. And Harry's just saying, and if Harry can pay for the Met to basically secure him any time he's in the country, that opens the doors for basically any rich person to say, I want Met security. And the Met security is like, no, we can't do this for you because we don't do this for anyone else. And it opens us up to this huge chasm of demands. But, Harry's a demanding guy. So he wants this. And we have this latest court filing today, and he's asking for another review. Because what we found out today, which was quite interesting, is that Harry really, really hates the Queen's private secretary. He does not like this guy. So Sir Edward Young was kind of instrumental in kind of negotiating kind of some of the Megxit aspects. And he also Harry was supposed to have a meeting with the Queen in March when him and Meghan came back briefly for kind of the Commonwealth thing. And Meghan, they had a couple final engagements, and Meghan, I feel like, who's been kind of a coward in this whole Megxit thing, because they dropped the Megxit bomb and Meghan was literally on a flight to Canada. And they do this, these couple of engagements in March, just a couple months later. And as soon as they're done, Meghan's on the next flight and Harry has to deal with his family. So I feel like she's been a bit of a coward in this whole situation. But anyways, Sir Edward Young, apparently Harry was supposed to have a meeting privately with his grandmother, and he was basically blocked from having that. And so that's where a lot of Harry's animosity lies towards Sir Edward Young. But, you have to think too, Sir Edward Young and the rest of the royals were like, we're really worried you might manipulate the Queen. You might give her this sob story and yada, yada, yada. And she may kind of back out and not make the best decisions for the crown. It might help you, but it won't help the rest of the crown. So kind of Harry wants this second review because as part of his Met security arrangements, who makes this determination is it's a special office. So it's called RAVEC. So it is the Executive Committee for the Protection of Royalty and Public Figures. Yeah, I know that the acronym's wrong. Apparently they changed the name, so RAVEC doesn't quite work, but that is what it's known as. And they determine who gets particularly this internationally protected person status. And Harry's really upset that Sir Edward Young was on this panel. Part of Harry's exploration in this whole committee is demanding to know who was on that that panel, who made this decision? Because to him and his wife, it's an egregious sin that they don't have security anymore. But the rest of the UK is looking at this going, we have to answer to the taxpayers, we have to answer the Queen, we have to answer to the Met officers who will be forced to do this. Like, there's a lot of people we answer to. We do not answer to the whims of Harry and Meghan. And so Harry's really upset that he was on there, and he's asking for an additional review to see if bias by Edward Young shifted the decision of this council. Because although Harry's lawyer says that he doesn't think the bias impacted any decision making, they really do. And even the judge was like, he said, that is quite a bold submission to make. And so you just look at this whole thing and go, golly, what is Harry thinking? Why is he kicking up such a fuss about this? Now, I understand he wants his family to be protected. I'm sure we all want that. However, Harry is just kind of, I feel like, misunderstanding what he's done in terms of Megxit and why the decision was made that no, he gets security like some of the rest of his family members, not like he did when he was a working member of the royal family with him and his wife, 6th in line to the throne. So what's really going on behind all of this kicking and pouting and whining and complaining? I think at the heart of it, there's kind of two things going on. First is that Harry and Meghan really, really messed up. Megxit was disastrous for them. Now, you can say, well, they went to Hollywood. They supposedly have these multi-million-dollar deals. Now, I've covered that in another video, how I think they're basically burning through their money. I think that's still true. But I think what the other issue is that Harry and Meghan, their plan, or Meghan's plan, because I really feel like this was led by Meghan. I don't think Harry's that bright. Sorry to say, just don't feel like he's that bright. This was Meghan's plan because they ended up in Hollywood. If they ended up in Africa, it would have been Harry's plan. If they ended up in LA, it was Meghan's plan. And they made this decision on the basis that they were going to be half in, half out. They were going to be part-time working royals. They were going to get to go on tours. They were going to get to do engagements. They were going to get basically a lot of things covered by the taxpayers. They weren't going to give the sovereign grant, but that's a small percentage of what the money they were given, and that was basically all for staff. They were still going to live off of Charles's Duchy of Cornwall. They didn't make any hints that they were going to live off that, which is also taxpayer funded basically, because if you live in Cornwall, part of your money goes to the Duchy of Cornwall, which is owned and operated by Prince Charles. Now, don't get mad at me in the comments if the details aren't quite right, but that's a way to look at it. That's a very, very simplistic way to look at it. So Harry and Meghan basically wanted this cushy life where they could be half in, half out. They could, have their travel paid for, some of their wardrobe paid for, and they could do all these different things while trying to hustle and bustle in Hollywood. That was their vision. And they made the stupid mistake of putting this manifesto on a website, telling everybody how it was going to be. And you know what? If I was an employee and I went to my employer and put on a public website all my demands, you know what would happen? I would probably get fired because that is idiotic. They didn't have the leverage to do this. They had this huge hubris, I think. Meghan and Harry really thought they were the cat's meow, that they were the stars of the British monarchy. And I've made this examination before, is that in every monarchy, pretty much, this is always the case. Most people in a monarchy are they're not anything, they're not outrageously gorgeous or, incredibly, handsome. There's a lot of times they're just normal people, in terms of looks. So you don't look at any of them and go, they're not Hollywood star material in terms of that, because a lot of Hollywood stardom is having, a particular talent. You have to be a very talented actor if you're not particularly attractive, or you have to be very attractive. Those are kind of the two routes you can take. So the monarchy is really like a solar system. The crown is the star. It's the sun. And all the planets around it encircle it, but the further you get back from the line of succession, the dimmer the light gets on you. And so Harry and Meghan really thought that they were basically the sun. They were the stars of the monarchy. Nobody could deny how influential and charismatic and all these things were. They really bought into their own manufactured PR. Well, as it turns out, no, that wasn't really the case. And the monarchy is surviving just fine without them. And so when they said, well, we're going to leave, the monarchies are like, okay, well, don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way out. They kind of gave them this year-long review process where they could say, well, maybe we want back in, because I think they all kind of knew that Meghan really wasn't as talented as Harry believed, and Meghan isn't as talented as she believes, and that this would probably crash and burn, which it kind of has. They really made this gigantic mistake because they put on their website, what's on their website, it says, we are still internationally protected persons. And I think that's the second thing driving this case, is they want that status back. Because you know what that means? My taxpayer dollars. Anytime they're in your country, your taxpayer dollars are helping to augment their security. I've done a whole video about kind of how I think Harry and Meghan are burning through the money that they have because they don't have that much. They probably haven't gotten a full payout from Netflix, and they may not if they can't produce anything. And part of the $100 million they were allegedly going to get is for actual production costs. It's not something that they're just going to get a lump sum of $100 million and can do whatever they want with it. No, they're getting, I'm sure, kind of payments and installments based on production needs and payment obligations. So Harry only inherited about $30 or so million. Meghan came into the marriage, high estimate is $5 million. I put it more at $3 million. She came in with a decent amount of money, but not a ton of money. So, how are they going to fund 24-hour security all the time? I think the problem is, and this is just my thoughts and opinions, I do not know any of this for sure, they're finding that it's more expensive than they anticipated. And if they get that internationally protected person status back, that means that the LAPD, well, not the LAPD, but, whoever's, maybe the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. I don't think they're probably in Los Angeles County. I don't know which county they're in. But anyways, Santa Barbara County or whatever, will have to help augment their security detail, our diplomatic security. So when Meghan came to the States for her baby shower, it was my taxpayer-funded diplomatic security that were escorting her around her paparazzi shoot around Manhattan. Great use of taxpayer dollars right there. In the middle of a, likely recession, and Britain is also having a lot of turmoil right now. Prime Minister Boris Johnson just resigned. There's a lot of upheaval within, the government, and there's been strikes and various things. You know what everybody needs is a petulant prince who made a disastrous and foolish mistake thinking that he was better and him and his wife were better than everyone else, suing Her Majesty's government, taking taxpayer time dollars to do this because he didn't get his way. That's what I think this all boils down to. Harry and Meghan didn't get their way. And they've made the mistake of thinking that they were going to be flush with cash, which I don't think they are. I think they're burning through a lot of their money because they only get a payout if they produce a podcast for Spotify. They're not going to give you $20, $30 million for one stinking episode, and it has to be good. And I think that's the problem, is they don't have it in them. I could be totally wrong. Meghan's, podcast will be a gigantic smash, but she's already alienated half the country because she's so clearly a partisan leftist Democrat. And her podcast will be of that ilk as well. So anybody who's conservative, because we're so partisan right now and everybody's sick of the wokeness and everything like that, she immediately at least cuts out half the population here in the United States. And I'm sure a lot of the rest of the world as well. So she has no broad appeal. Harry doesn't either. They're both deeply unliked anymore. And so this court case just makes them more unlikable because they seem out of touch, out of step. And it seems like just this massive personal vendetta and anger that Harry has because he was sold, I think, and then again, this is my personal opinion. I'm saying this for legal reasons. Harry was sold a box of lies, I think. He was told by Meghan she was a star. She told him that she was a star. She could make him a star. She could make them a star. They could have this gorgeous, amazing life in Florida. They could buy a $15 million house, which is basically half of his inheritance, and they'll make triple, quadruple, quintuple that. That's not really a term, but whatever. And it hasn't happened because, unfortunately, Meghan was not successful in Hollywood for a reason. She was not a good actress. And we have no indication that she was a creative. So a creative to me is somebody like George Lucas, it's Steven Spielberg, it's, oh gosh, what's his name? The guy who produces The Big Bang Theory, Chuck Lorre, or Shonda Rhimes, or Ryan Murphy. Like, she never had that capability. Nothing wrong with that. I think they could have done much better just trying to do the influencer thing, because I think that is actually more her speed. She's not a creative. We have no indication that she altered scripts, that she was writing scripts, that she was, behind the camera doing anything on Suits beyond just showing up and getting her wardrobe and maybe saying, well, I don't really want to take my clothes off anymore. That's her right. That's fine. But other than that, we have no indication that she was more behind the scenes than just being an actress, and she can't act. She's not good at it. And without these other credentials, why in the world did they think they could make it in Hollywood? I don't know. And I think Harry is really starting to sink in, at least I hope it is, just for his sanity, that they made a colossal mistake. This was a bad, bad move. And ergo, I think that's where this court case is going. It's just basically a way to try to reestablish what they lost voluntarily. They gave it up, and then they're going, oh, no, this isn't what we wanted. We didn't really want to be on our own, so we didn't really want to try to make it by ourselves. But, life's tough, get a helmet. That's what you chose. You both adults. And this is the life you wanted, and this is life you got, and you got to work for it. I'm sorry, but you do. Well, guys, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I kind of didn't meander too much in this, but I find it really, really fascinating. And I know a lot of people say, well, it's Harry's decisions. He chose this. And I do feel like that's true. But I also feel like he was kind of gobsmacked, and he was kind of led by Meghan into making decisions that he didn't really fully understand the consequences of. And I think that's manifesting in this court case. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I hope it stops here. All we need is for the Met Security to be having to, offer security detail to all sorts of different people. And most specifically, I do not want them to get their internationally protected person status back, because that would be so annoying. Because even if they say, oh no, we're not, we will never ask for it, I bet you if they get it, they will. Because I think they need it. And I think that may be driving some of this. Well, anyways, guys, again, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to go to the description and learn more about the giveaway. I'm so excited about that. And guys, I so appreciate all the support and all the encouragement. And I hope to see you guys again really, really soon. Bye.